Alright, so let's talk about the choice of battery. Let's talk about battery. Previously, we talked about power supply unit for quite a long time. So an alternative method to actually have a power, alright, or you talk about the source of power, alright, is your choice of battery. In the previously, we talked about the source of power is actually coming from your power supply unit. Alright, so in this case, we will talk about the choice of battery. Okay, first thing first, when talk about primary, your primary battery or primary type of battery, you're going to talk about a non-rechargeable battery. That's it. Secondary, you're going to talk about rechargeable battery. That's it. Finish. And how should you choose battery? Alright, I think this is also a potential question. I don't know, that's whack for you only. And what type of capacity is needed? How portable does your product need to be? Things like that. So when you choose the choice of battery, you're going to talk about whether you want to choose a alkaline battery. It's then not always your AA battery is called the alkaline battery, or you can use the rechargeable nickel battery, alright, which can be rechargeable. If you think about it, this battery is very familiar. When do you see it? It's inside your rechargeable phone, your rechargeable house phone. Okay, so your rechargeable house phone is connected with using your nickel battery, alright, so it can be rechargeable. So your nickel is a rechargeable system, as also being said over here, you see. So it all depends on how you want to design your stuff. So it's talking about how to mix and match. So these are the things that you may want to also understand. And some lithium coil cells or zinc air cells or whatever, some exotic batteries that you want to say can also be there. So the lithium battery is something can be like this. If you think about it, it's very familiar to you. And normally your battery, computer battery, is also a rechargeable lithium battery, alright, things like that. And this one you can just go and read through. Alright, alkaline, I think you know already. Lithium, I think you know, that's what I just said. Alright, so these are the things that you also want to briefly memorize. Alright, so if you're free, you go and own self memorize this one. Alright, this is pretty straightforward for this one. Alright, and then something for you to know is that the lithium battery, alright, is different from lead-ion battery. The lithium battery, I would think, is talking about this, alright, where this is not rechargeable. So that's why I say that the computer battery is a rechargeable one. No, I mean, yeah, the computer battery is rechargeable, but it is talking about lithium ion. It's not lithium. So this is something that I will be careful of it. Alright, this is lithium ion battery. Alright, not lithium only. I didn't cancel the words ion. Alright, please be careful. Lithium ion battery is for rechargeable. Lithium, however, on the other hand, is a primary, is non-rechargeable. So be careful of the words lithium and lithium ion. Only. Focus should always focus on the alkaline manganese cell, where it is nominally 1.5 volt, or average. In average is 1.5 volt. But however, it has a strong sloping discharge. Later on we'll talk about the slope of the discharge rate, because normally battery are being calculated or ranked by their discharge rate, alright, and their number of cycles being used. Alright, so this later on we'll talk about it. The rest I think you can also go and read, right? It's just simple. Just take note of the keywords like lithium cell, don't confuse with lithium ion, and then silver oxide, alright, and zinc air cells, alright, is for hearing aids. So the zinc air cells are those that are still primary, alright. Talk about primary cells, you can talk about zinc air. Alright, zinc air is for people, for hearing aids, people who want to, normally your ear, then you cannot hear, then you'll connect something over here. So over here inside there is a certain battery. So this battery is a non-rechargeable battery. They call it a zinc air battery. Okay, and so these are the things that may help you to memorize better. Alright, plus you also have your secondary rechargeable cells, like secondary means rechargeable. Okay, so the most important one is nickel metal hydride, or NiMH. Alright, it's best choice. It's like this now. Alright, nickel metal hydride is another form. It's a rechargeable one. Alright, it may look very similar like the one that you often see, the AA battery. So that's why I think those battery people, wow, they really know how to design. Alright, so you see Energizer, at first I thought Energizer was always AA battery. Now they got like this recharge battery wherever talk about the thing that we are talking now, like a macam only. Alright, when you talk about battery or you want to buy battery, take note what is it about, and you can actually talk about the nickel metal hydride. Alright, the best choice in presence. And it's always because it's less damage to the environment. So when they ask about choose a battery that is less damaging to the environment and is rechargeable, then straight away you know that okay, nickel metal hydride, whack only. Alright, normally it is 1.2 volt, or in average is 1.2 volt at first. Okay, then the left you have your lithium ion, that's one we have to say the computer, your laptop. Lead acid is in your car. When we talk about lead acid, it's talking about car battery. Alright, this one, die hard. Or you can also have this big lead battery. These are all lead batteries. So inside this particular huge box is lead, or it's in water. So there, I mean not water, but rather than it's in liquid lead. Alright, so you can use it lah. Alright, things like that. Okay, and then special batteries for your backup. Just now you remember, just now I got say about the tree that you often see. Alright, the battery that is within your computer that can help you to determine your clock time. So you see this timing now. Every time when you on your computer, you no need to reset your timing, right? It's because there is a battery that is within your laptop that is often running forever. To a certain extent, it runs all along, alright, to run your clock, alright, to run your timing. So you no need to own self reset. So it's a separate power supply to actually help you to determine your time, your date, and everything. Alright, so there will be a certain external special battery to help you for backup in your computer. For example, this clock. Because normally if you're going to talk about computers, they'll keep trying to code the computer, and then that requires a clock or whatever lah. So yeah, some sort of the meaning. This secondary cells, alright, the one that we have been talking all along, this one over here does not last forever. Alright, about 5 years and things like that, and it'll self-discharge. If you don't use it, it'll self-discharge. Alright, especially NICAT and this one. Alright, so I'm talking about this one. Okay, so although this is good, less damaging to the environment, but once you buy, you need to use. Don't let it be and let it go, you know. And different cells have a different procedure to charge it correctly, so you need to know how to charge it lah. Okay, the number of hours required and things like that. And the type of charger you want to have, the type of integrated circuits that you want to supervise. So you need to know, really know what it's talking about. The best way to charge your battery and the best way to use your battery. Alright, so now let's talk about the discharge curve. Alright, so this discharge curve is a combination of the primary and secondary batteries. Okay, so it's a combination of primary and secondary batteries because we have lead acid. Lead acid is a secondary because it's rechargeable. Alright, alkaline manganese is a non-rechargeable battery, your AA battery, your 1.5 volt battery. Okay, so therefore yeah, normally we talk about talking about the discharge slope. Alright, the slope. Over here, the slope for lead acid is kind of a little bit steep, but at least is acceptable. Over here for the alkaline manganese, which is the red color one, you see, its rate of discharge is really very steep. Alright, at first it's 1.5 volt. The time you use, the more it actually go down to approximately 0.9 volt. Alright. So alkaline manganese is not a very good choice to actually use your battery because of this slope over here. You see, it's not very well designed, or it's not very well used, or in other words, it's not good for us. Alright, things like that. It's wastage. So this thing over here is the percentage of capacity discharge. So they're trying to measure the percentage of its leftover battery. Alright, so if you were to reach until here, for example, if you reach 40%, alright, if you reach 40% of this line, alright, you see, your lead acid actually dropped a little bit. Alright, your silver oxide, your lithium manganese, and your NiMH is always so constant, you see. It's always giving you a good constant power at nominal, alright, nominal or average battery at about 1.2 volt. Alright, So normally 1.2 volt is a good source of power throughout all along. You see, so the curve for your nickel and manganese, whatever, don't know what the hell, is very good. And this is why over here they say that your nickel metal hydride, sorry, not manganese, but your nickel metal hydride is the best choice, because as you can see, nominally is 1.2 volt, or as we have just said over here. So this is a very good choice of things, and nonetheless is also recyclable, which is wow, like a cool only. Alright, so therefore when you talk about the battery, alright, when you talk about battery, straight away you need to talk about the slope. Alright, because the slope is important. Alright, a long time you want it to stay quite as constant as possible. You don't want it to have this steep slope. Then you often have lesser and lesser power supply as you use, which is very inefficient. You want to have a constant power supply throughout, so that it is very constant, very consistent. Alright, you wouldn't have power, a little bit power switches here and there. Alright, later on I'll talk about using another video to talk about the Game Boy issues. Right, if you play Game Boy previously, you'll know that you input a certain battery inside the Game Boy. Alright, so there are little stuff that we're gonna talk about using the battery concept. So later on we'll talk about it, but we haven't go yet. But over here I just want to say that this is in terms of the discharge slopes. Alright, so be careful when you talk about the discharge, talk about discharge slopes. Alright, talk about alkaline manganese, which have a very steep slope. Alright, this is the keyword. So the feature of a battery supply. So previously we talked about the feature of your main supply. Now we talk about features of a battery supply. This thing I don't think you want to. Portable is because portable, I know battery ma. But your cost is very expensive. As I say, it is overrated because of the branding. People want to brand their battery like alkaline battery or energizer battery and things like that. So it is expensive because of the branding issues. People want to package their power. Alright, so yeah. Then it is finite lifetime, because even though you have a rechargeable battery, for example, your rechargeable battery, we're gonna talk about the amount of cycle. I don't think it's talk about over here. Well, you're gonna talk about the battery cycles. Alright, battery cycles. For example, if you use your laptop, if you connect your laptop over here, alright, and you have your lithium ion battery inside your this thing, alright, after you finish, the battery is 0%, you will charge it with your charger. So you have 100%, and then you drain again and it will become 0%. So this is one cycle. Alright, so normally one time you charge, you recharge one time and you have a one cycle. So normally the battery life is calculated by the cycles. Alright, the charging cycles. How many cycles can the battery use before it fail? Alright, so there is a finite time. So rechargeable battery, I don't say that it's infinite. So it is up to a certain cycle it will spoil, because the lithium ion over at this side, if you recharge and charge, alright, there is those lithium atoms or whatever will start to compound at each of the area. Some, I don't know what area, but I remember some area. So over here you actually restrict the amount of voltage that is, or amount of power that can be stored within the battery itself. Alright, so a long time everything crumble all together, you actually restrict the amount of power into the battery, so the battery actually spoils. Alright, so normally we want to recharge, we want to fully recharge or fully discharge, alright, so that the battery itself will not spoil this easily. At least it can lengthen its time. Alright, and as time goes by, the lithium ion will actually crumble all together. Alright, will actually crumble all together until at a certain point everything is here. You cannot allow any power to be existed inside the battery, because you have fully used it already. All the lithium ion has been so-called hardened, or I don't know what the hell is going on, but anyway, something for you to note of. And nonetheless, yeah, so let's come back here. So this is finite, so this is a finite lifetime. And then characteristics during the change during the lifetime, talk about the slope, as we see, right? The slopes, these slopes over here. So these slopes talk about although it is still can be used, but the slope over here, the battery the battery itself, the power itself is not very good, it's not very recommendable, things like that. Okay, and then the little noises. Alright, so the little noises doesn't comparatively to your noise in your main supply unit. If you watch that video, the noise comes from the main supply. Alright, from the main supply unit. Alright, comes from the pulses, comes from lightning strikes, or maybe big pulses when you on your off your main your building power supply. So you normally, when you on the power supply, you have a power surge, and then eventually comes down constant. Right, so this power surge over here will cause a noise in your main power supply unit. But for your battery, because normally your battery doesn't have big power, or only have a very small amount of voltage and current, you wouldn't have any power surges going on. Alright, but you may have noise within your own system, because the system itself has its own system. Alright, so you have its own noise, notwithstanding that the battery itself doesn't contribute a lot of noise. Alright, it doesn't have any surge. Alright, so when you start your Game Boy or whatever, alright, it will just surge a little bit and then goes down. So it's quite okay. Alright, this thing over here is quite okay. Unlike from your building, the main power supply, when you on, boom, and then like that. Alright, so this thing over here is gonna cause problem. Alright, so these are the things that you may understand. And then usually need protection against reverse polarity. Alright, so if user insert a wrong thing, alright, the battery holder cannot put in. Because reverse polarity, I think, will cause certain system issue also, or the battery cannot be used, because normally you want to have, this is plus minus, you wouldn't want to connect plus together like that, right? Then you wouldn't have any power supply going on. So you need to know how to connect your battery. So you need to have a battery holder that can prevent this type of issues that happens. Alright, so this is something that talk about the protection against reverse polarity. Alright, and bad for the environment. Alright, so especially if not rechargeable. So normally you want a battery to be rechargeable, it can be used quite a long time, and at the end of the day you can also recycle it, like your nickel metal hydride. Alright, it's less damaging to the environment, things like that. Alright, so I hope that this is give you a full summary of just battery. Alright, so later on I'll use another a little bit of time to actually talk about the issue of battery and concepts that may be helpful to you in whatever that is. So see you there.